Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and I have with me world-class trainer and mentor and good friend to the show, Uncle James Ali Bashir. Welcome to Bayloric Worldwide Television, Uncle Bashir.
I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here.
The last time we spoke, Alexander Usyk was out in a potentially difficult fight. You had your concerns about the fight, but Usyk went out and did the job convincingly.
Yes, thank God. Was able to get by Fabricio Menchuno, which I view as a tough fight for anybody in the cruiserweight division. Fabricio Menchuno is for real. He can fight.
Did Usyk perform? Did he perform to what you expected? Did he perform above what you expected, or?
Actually, he performed above what I expected. I expected more of a cat and mouse situation, but Usyk was able to do with Menchuno that what no one has been able to do. Because even in the fights that Menchuno lost, even in those fights, Junior Macabo, I didn't see the first fight, but I understand that in the fight that he lost to Zach, I don't know his last name, and I understand the fight that he lost to Zach, and we saw in the Junior Macabo fight that he was winning those fights handily, and he was giving them a thrashing. He was giving them a good beating. He's a very good technical fighter, and he can punch. He can hurt you.
So what do you think?
Usyk performed above what I expected.
So what was it?
And he was able to do what nobody was able.
What was it
He was able to do what nobody else was able to do. He shut him down.
But what was it? Do you think it was he was able to allow him to shut the fight down, not to allow Menchuno to get into the fight? What do you think it was for you?
I think that it was planning. I think it was planning, as is the case in most fights, a strategy. The application of strategy, not going out with just the norm, double your jab and hook off the jab. I think it was timing and strategy. Knowing when to apply a strategy and know when to abandon a strategy. Throughout the fight, there was different ebb and flows, and you got to make the adjustments to beat out what Menchuno was doing. So I think that it was just timing and the application therein. And that's what today's trainership doesn't have. They don't have application. They don't have strategy. They just go out there with the norm, double the jab, throw the right hand, throw the left hand, and we're going to get them. But no, we had a plan. We had a plan throughout the entire training camp as to how to fight Menchuno. And as it turned out, it was very good. It was a very good strategy. And eventually, it wore Menchuno down. It wore him down,
Okay, this is a good time to talk about the Glowacki fight, and then talk about the Menchuno fight. Let's talk about the difference in strategy between fighting the guy in his backyard to become world champion, and now being the world champion, and then defending the title against a dangerous, tricky opponent. Tell us the difference, to break the two styles down and say, well, okay, this is what this guy does, this is what this guy did, and why he had to make the changes in camp, and it wasn't the same old, same old.
Well, you had one guy, both guys were southpaws, but you had one guy that was an aggressive southpaw, and you had another guy that was a finesse southpaw. And it was a distinct and stark difference between the two. Glowacki, you wasn't going to have to look for him. He was going to be in your face the whole time the fight was going. And Menchuno, he was one of those guys that was tricky. He'll try to lure you in one round, and then he'll come out and try to make something happen in the next round. So there was, like I said, a lot of ebb and flow. But there's a stark difference in their styles.
So okay, let's
Um,
let's let's push this a little forward and say if you use the same strategy that you used against Goraki, against Minchuno, what would have happened if you trained exactly the same way? What would have happened? Which a lot of trainers do. Same strategy, go out there and bang him out because you're a puncher. What do you think would have been the problems you would have encountered?
well, Machuno, they say that he's 5'11", but I don't think so. I think Machuno is the same. I'm 5 feet 9.5 inches tall, and Machuno is barely my height. So I'm thinking that Machuno is 5'8.5", at best 5 feet 9. But his style lowers him to 5 feet 7. His style, he fights off the back leg and he stoops very low and he's very crafty stooping low. So therefore, throwing punches at Glowacki was quite different than throwing punches at Minchuno because Minchuno is in a lower stature. So yeah, Usyk missed some punches as I felt that he would. I felt that he would, but we had the correct sparring partners. We brought in a lot of short sparring partners who emulated Machuno, and because of that, Usyk was very sharp with his punches. Even though still he missed some punches because again, Metuno ducks so low he can get to the statue where he's 5'7" or 5'6". He's bending and ducking and dodging and weaving, and it's hard to put a punch on him. It's very hard. That's why I was relatively upset about the choice of opponents in the first fight being aired on HBO. You bring in a guy like Machuno. I was upset about that.
But you got the win, which was great.
Yeah, we got the win, but what I'm saying is, in boxing is a how do I say it? Boxing is a contemptuous sport. It's very disrespectful, depending on the people who are calling the shots. The networks sometimes will force a fighter on other fighters. Then you have the management who doesn't seem to care about what the trainer thinks. This is who we're going to fight, and you just make the adjustments. And I think that it should be the other way. I think that the management needs to consult the trainers. They need to consult them and say, what do you think about this guy? You know, how can we beat this guy? Is this guy a good choice? I mean, at least ask, at least talk. But this guy, Machuno, was just basically said, this is the guy we're going to fight. I wasn't privy to anything that went on behind the scenes. Nobody called me and said, hey, we tried to get 3 or 4 other guys, but this is the only guy that's stepping up, So I said, what can I say?
There's a danger though that if they don't talk to the trainer, and if the manager isn't aware of the value of what the trainer brings to the table, then it becomes counterproductive.
At some point, yes, it will. I just don't like the way certain things are done in boxing. Um, when I'm not comfortable in a situation, then I'll walk away from it. I'm thinking back today is a tribute to a man, Martin King, or Rosa Parks or Malcolm, and I always try to think of myself, growing up during that time of their existence, growing up. I always think about what would they do, how would they deal with this situation, and I think that sometimes pride pride, demanding respect. So at the end of the day, that I'll be happy with myself as a human being. This goes far beyond boxing. I don't want somebody to just push me around and say, okay, do this here, boy, or get over there, boy, or do this, boy, or do that. If I don't like something, then at some point I will speak on it, speak out against it, and if need be, I'll walk away from the situation rather than be disrespected.
Do you feel valued as a trainer?
Uh, Throughout these years, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot, and when I say I've seen a lot, I've seen mistreatment of trainers by white people and black people. And there has been very few promoters, very few managers that has respected the trainership, whether it was Latino, black, or white, that was doing it. And I've always spoken out against it. I'm just not going to take that. I'm not going to take that kind of stuff. I'm not that kind of person.
Let's talk about trainers. We talk about it a lot, and I'm going to move from one point to another. The first point I want to talk about, I sent you a video today of a trainer with a shopping trolley pushing this trolley back and forth with a punch bag on the front of the trolley, and the fighter was flipping from side to side, throwing body shots. And the trolley was meant to be mimicking the fighter going in and out. I know what you're going to say, but I just want to hear what your thoughts are on this.
I think that it was much to do about nothing. This is something where somebody sat down and thought, hey, I'll do this here to be unique. But actually, it was the act of a buffoon, a clown. Because I think that style has much to do about nothing. First of all, who's going to walk to somebody like that? Who's going to come up like a cart? Uh, you're walking in broadside where your belly is open. I see the guys with the vests that they wear, some other nonsense that they created, where they hit the mitts a couple of times and then they punch to the body. But I'm trying to think, well, what human being is going to put this up in a position where they could be hit in the body like that? So I said, no, it's much to do about nothing. You know, I think that it's people that create different styles to make themselves seem unique, to make themselves seem important. Boxing is a sweet science, but having knowledge of that sweet science, the science is not so deep. And today's boxing people are creating different apparatuses, different punch bags and stuff they put in gyms, which I think is a bunch of bullshit. They put in the gyms these different bags and stuff that has nothing to do with nothing. So I keep it simple in my trainership. I keep it very, very simple. I hone in on the things that's going to be necessary, things that I think that's going to take place in a particular fight, and I stay close to that, And because of that in-depth knowledge, uh, a lot of people don't like it. A lot of promoters, a lot of managers don't like it, but I know best. I'm the professional. I'm the professional. Most of these people that come into boxing, the managers and some of the promoters, they come in, but they come in with a lack of knowledge. They come in trying to push their agenda on the trainer, but I'm not that kind of a trainer that can do that. I take my job seriously. I take my trainership seriously. I take my this boxing as a noble art, as an in-depth and noble art. And I take it very, very seriously. And I take it to heart. When people come into the sport, trying to push off some nonsense like walking around with a grocery cart, you know, having people throw body shots. I said, please give me a break with that. I looked at that. I said, oh my God, what are people coming? What are people thinking? So I don't put too much stock in that.
There's another video of a trainer who lines up a whole set of fighters and they just stick the chin out, and the trainer just comes on, wallops them with left hooks, and they stand up and they've got to take the punch on the chin.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Your thoughts on that?
Stupidity, ignorance. You know, I see people with the medicine ball hitting a fighter with the medicine ball, dropping the medicine ball in their core, in their abdomens, in their stomachs. I see people uh, uh, on the bars, the aerobic bars that the gymnasts use, and I see them up there, and I see a guy comes up and punches them in the stomach, punches them in the stomach. But I'm thinking that a boxer takes enough punishment during the sparring sessions in preparation for a fight. So outside of the sparring sessions, he doesn't need anybody hitting him in the core with a medicine ball, or doing any kind of hitting on him. Because the sparring itself is enough. But now you got guys that's adding on that supposed to make them tough. Tough. I don't know what they think it is that it makes them tougher, makes them be able to take a body punch better or whatever.
But
But I think that's
you say that, but I don't know any trainer in boxing that doesn't use a medicine ball and throw it to the fighter's body. It's just, see all the big fights, you see the highlights of the trainer throwing it and the guy working it with his stomach, and you see it and you think, well, that's just the way it is. But when you come to think about it,
well. Michael Spinks and Muhammad Ali and those guys, they did their road work in combat boots. So what I'm saying is, the analogy that I'm making here is that because someone is doing it does not make it right.
that's true. Doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right. And if you use a little diplomacy, you can see that it's not right. Later on, Michael Spinks had problems with his knees. Ali had problems with his arches, his calves, from running with those combat boots on. Even then, going back then, I thought to myself that this is not right. This is not right. But I didn't have no scientific proof. I didn't have no medical proof. But even when I first see it, inside the Muhammad Ali camp, when I would see these guys running with his boots on, I was thinking that this is not right, in my psychic. But I couldn't prove it. I had no scientific proof.
The other
and
one,
as it turned out, it was wrong. That's why people spend hundreds of dollars now. People spend hundreds of dollars on running shoes, expensive running shoes now, just to run in comfort, so they don't hurt themselves.
What about when there's a thing where they use the two like ropes and they just push up and down a time, and they do that, and like if they got there's a black ropes they pull back and up and down, they use the ropes to strengthen the arms and the shoulders. That one they're using, it's a new thing they're using.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay, so how does that work then for you?
That I can do. The rope side to side with it. Yeah. I can relate to that.
Right.
I can relate to that. In due proportion. You don't want to do it. I see where people are doing it for 25 minutes and 20 minutes. I think that's a bit much. But I think that you can really get a benefit from that, because that's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be flailing your arms. You're going to be punching, and you want to try to strengthen the muscles so that they'll have some kind of durability throughout a tough fight. So, yeah, I can relate to that.
Okay. So we've talked about trainers' techniques. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is recent events, recent world title fights, where the trainers haven't been up to scratch. And in key big fights, they've been the difference between their fighter becoming either a world champion or losing a world championship. So I'll reel off five fights for you, and you can talk to me about them, or you can see Scott Quigg versus Carl Frampton, Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev, James Degale versus Badu Jack, Thurman Porter, and there's another one, but I'll come back to you. But there are four fights there I mentioned there.
Okay, just give it to me in one at a time so I can deal with it in my mind.
Okay, let's talk first about Ward Kovalev and the aftermath of that. Going into the fight, John David Jackson's one of the best trainers in the world, blah de blah de blah de blah de blah, world class trainer. But yet, throughout the fight, he allowed Ward to get off the deck and then get into the fight, get into rhythm, and now they complain afterwards that Ward won the fight. But yet there was no urgency from John David Jackson. Your thoughts?
On any given night, a trainer can slip up. A trainer is just a human being. I'm sure looking back on the fight, hindsight, that John David Jackson would do things differently. But it seemed to me that John David Jackson was not in control of that corner. I don't know the circumstances, but it seemed to me that there was a Russian guy that was in the corner that seemed to be doing all of the talking. You know, and as I understand, that Russian guy has now become the trainer for Kovalev. I don't know how true that is. Yeah, looking back at the fight, I think there was different things that if John could go back, he could apply himself differently. There's different things that he might have done, that he might have said to spur Kovalev on, but I think that he missed a really good chance of doing some damage to Andre Ward in that fight, in that moment, in that round, and the two rounds that followed that. In that round and the two rounds that followed that, my thinking is that Kovalev let the moment go by. And Andre Ward, Andre Ward, I just don't understand. I don't understand Virgil Hunter's style of training. You know, I don't understand his style, to say the least. He says and does things that I can't relate to as a trainer. But again, I don't want to put him down, but I don't comprehend it. You know, to me, it was not a good fight. It was not a good fight. It was an ugly fight.
Give me an example of one of the things you hear from John David Jackson, Virgil Hunter, that you don't comprehend, you don't understand. Give us an example, because it's kind of blurred lines.
Most of the things.
Give me an example of a typical Virgil Hunter saying. He said something, you think, hold on.
I mean, that's just his strategies. I just can't relate to his strategies. It's so many things that he says that I can't grasp why he's saying it. You know, and it's not to say that he's telling him something wrong. It's just something I can't relate to. But him and Andre has a long relationship from the time that Andre was a kid, so maybe it's something between them that Andre can comprehend it and nobody else can. But I can't relate to a lot of the things that he says. And he says so many things that I can't relate to, that I can't put a finger on one thing. You know, that where I can say, oh yeah, I can relate to that, or I can embrace what he's saying. I just can't do it. And I'm calling a spade a spade. You know.
The Degale fight with Badu Jack. I mean, I've done a video talking about my concerns about James Degale, which is on the channel. But your thoughts?
Um, I think that Degale is a good fighter. Not a great fighter, but he has potential. But at this point, his trainership, his techniques are in the basement. He's taking shots. He took too many punches in that fight. I said, well, what kind of training was this guy doing? You know, any trainer at the top level will be alarmed about the amount of punches that he took in that fight.
Exactly.
I mean, it was like he threw strategy out the window and he said, look, I'm just going to fight. I'm in a fight, and that's what I'm going to do, fight. There was no setting traps.
Mm-hmm.
There was no kind of structure. I'm a double jab, and then I'm a feint jab, step back with a right hand, left hook. You understand? So I didn't see that. I didn't see that there. And I think that going forward that James Degale is going to have to move on to get another trainer. Maybe he can keep the guy, but my suggestion is that if a guy is going to break with a trainer, he should break with the trainer. If a guy is going to break with a trainer, my suggestion is to break with the trainer. And there's no such thing as a trainer breaking with a trainer and then keeping the trainer in that camp, because it's not going to go well for the new trainer.
No, it doesn't.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to go well for the new trainer. I've always told boxers that come to me and says, oh, I want you to train me. I said, okay, you want me to train you, but I got to bring my own crew in. It's just like the President of the United States is going to bring in his own crew. He's got to clean house because he doesn't want Obama loyalists there. So I expect that he'll keep his cousin or his brother or somebody around, but everybody else has to go. I don't need somebody inside the camp as a detractor. If I'm saying, look, go right, and somebody else is saying, well, you don't need to go right, you need to go left. I don't need nobody behind the scenes whispering, And I'm just like any corporate manager. Any corporate manager that comes in is going to clean the house and bring in his own crew. I think James Degale needs to come to America, find a credible trainer.
I've mentioned the three people I said would be great trainers. The one in the UK I said was Enzo Calzaghe because of what he did with Joe Calzaghe. The movement, the hand speed, the work rate, a very disciplinarian. Two, I mentioned you because of what you've accomplished with Usyk, particularly with Usyk, because that's a high-profile fighter that everybody knows apart from Klitschko. But everybody's seen you work with Usyk from the amateur, from pro to world championship, and the movement and the footwork and the defensive skills. So I've mentioned your name, and then I brought in, if I couldn't get anyone else, I'd get Ronnie Shields because of what he was doing with Arthur Spilka. Again, Spilka was able to do the in and out movement, the defensive skills, and I think Degale's a better boxer than Arthur Spilka. So I think Ronnie Shields could do some work with him as well. So those were the three guys that I sort of threw out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I think James Degale needs somebody else at this point.
He does.
He needs somebody else. I mean, I like loyalty. I like respect. But not at the risk of damaging my career or being damaged at my physical attributes. He took a beat in that fight, and he needs to go back and re-examine the fight and says, hey, I got to get somebody in here that can teach me something, that can teach me some defense or something. When I first started working with Vladimir Klitschko and Alexander Usyk and Maurice Harris and Monty Barrett and all these guys, my first order of things is to be able to box. Punching power, you born with it. You come out the womb with it. Either you got it or you don't. But boxing is something that can be taught, the application of boxing. And if you look back on anything I've done, I've always taught sound boxing technique. I've always taught sound boxing techniques. So when I got with Alexander Usyk, and he would let me, because I say punching comes and goes. You know, punches comes and goes. Um, if you can punch, that punching power is not going to go anywhere. The punching power, they always say in boxing, the punching power is the last thing that leaves any man. All right? So that's not going to go anywhere. But boxing technique, this is what I'm telling Usyk, boxing technique is a must. And that's what we've been working on throughout my tenure with him. And that's what we'll continue to work on. Because I think that allows for a boxer to have longevity in their careers, that they won't get into trouble, unnecessarily. Badu Jack, I think that the draw was justified. You know, if I had to nod either way, I would probably nod it for Jack that he edged the fight out, but not by no great margin like people will say. Badu Jack won the fight. Badu Jack won the fight. No, it was a close fight. It
That
was
knock
Evan.
that knockdown helped him win the fight, to get into the draw. I think because if he didn't get that knockdown, he wouldn't have. I don't think he would have got the win.
Right, right, right. But it was a case for and against. Having said that about James Degale, Badu Jack didn't secure his position as the reigning uh, uh, dual champion. In other words, in plain simple words, he did not
Do anything spectacular.
do something spectacular to say, yes, I won this fight.
I'm the man.
I'm the man. And no, that didn't happen. You know, that didn't happen. Um, both of them were lackluster going down the stretch. That's where you want to put it all together in one basket and go out and really, really stake your claim in those last rounds. And they didn't do that. They didn't come down the stretch roaring the way Sugar Ray Leonard did against Tommy Hearns, and Tommy Hearns did against Sugar Ray Leonard. Both fights, they were coming down the stretch roaring. They were coming down the stretch saying, I want this.
Okay.
I want this.
Let me throw this at you. James DeGale, from what I'm seeing, he tires in big fights down the stretch. He can't seem to work on the inside. His way of getting the inside is to tuck up tight and move forward, leave himself vulnerable to uppercuts. He has a habit of staying along the ropes and switching off for fights. Is that down to his training, or is that a mental thing?
I think that it boils down to training habits. This is something that has to be nipped in the bud inside the training camp. The trainer has to say, stop, please, wait a minute. You don't want to do this here. You got to re-emphasize not to do this, not to do this, I'm constantly telling Usyk inside of a training camp, no, stop, 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 stop. And he'll look at me and he'll acknowledge me with his eyes and say, yeah, I know, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that. This is his way. He'll look at me and say, yeah, Bash, I know I did was something wrong. You got it. It's just like you do with a child.
Mm-hmm.
No, don't do that. No, don't do that until you break them of the habits. You know. And in a boxing ring, a lot of times it's like that. It's like a child. It's like a parent-child relationship where you're steering a fighter through murky waters. You're saying, look, don't go against the ropes. Stay out of the corner. Spin out of the corner. When you find yourself back to the ropes, you spin out of there. You do this. You grab them. You tie them up. You walk them back. You grab us off. You walk them. You got to tell them. Because most of the time the fighters are in the ring and they are acting in remote. They're tired. They're getting hurt. They're getting dazed. They can be dazed. As soon as they clear their head, they can get hit with a shot and be dazed again. So you got to steer them through murky waters out there. You can't just leave them out there on their own. That's what trainership is for. Like I said, I don't think that Badu Jack did all that much more. If I had to nod my head either way, I might have nodded for Badu Jack by split decision, but I don't see as where he was dominant enough to say that yes, that he's the undisputed champion of these two champions here. So I think that the draw was just.
There are people I was suggesting this over Twitter that he needs to change his trainer. McDonald's done a good job with him up to this point, but now it's time to move on. I said that
Who? Who we
James
talking about?
Degale.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
was saying over Twitter. I said that McDonald's done a fabulous job as a trainer to get him to where he is, but now he needs to move on and find a new trainer. Some of the suggestions were, oh well, James DeGale's 30 now. He's stuck in his old ways. He's not going to move on now, and he can't change as a fighter. I disagree with that.
Nonsense. I disagree with that too. I disagree with it too. You know, I disagree with that logic. That's like a dinosaur's logic that you can't do better than what you did. You know, no, that's dinosaur's logic. Um, like I said, one of the best boxers I've ever trained was Maurice Harris. I pay tribute and respect to Maurice Harris because Maurice Harris, he would mimic different things I would teach him. If I taught him something, he would mimic that and he would learn it down to a science. And he was a very, very astute boxer. And people say, but yeah, but he couldn't punch. Maurice Harris could punch, but he wouldn't punch like George Foreman or Mike Tyson. Maurice Harris was a slashing, ripping puncher. He was so sharp with his punches that he could really hurt you. He could really, really hurt you. If you go to YouTube and you look at Maurice Harris versus David Eisen, he stunned David Eisen very badly in the first round of that fight. Maybe the last 30, 40 seconds, he stunned him. No, it was before that day. He stunned him really bad. But he stunned him because the punches were so sharp. I had Harris boxing Mike Tyson. We boxed Mike Tyson regularly for 3 years. Arizona, Texas, Las Vegas. We boxed Mike regularly. This is when Mike was Mike. Mike was a dangerous, dangerous puncher. And Harris would handle Mike relatively easy because Mike couldn't hit Harris with those big shots. He couldn't land those shots on him. And believe me, Mike would be trying to. He'd be trying to rip Maurice Harris's head off. But Maurice Harris was so sharp and so articulate. Then boxing with Lennox Lewis and with Ray Mercer, he was boxing all those big punches, and they were not able to really do the damage on him that they were trying to, as a testimony to his boxing skills. So yeah, he was a very good boxer. I think that Maurice's demise came at his own hands. He didn't really take what he was doing serious, as so many other boxers over the years. Wilfred Benitez. There were so many guys gifted. Michael Nunn. These guys were so gifted that, it was like the tortoise in the hare. I'm so far ahead of the pack that I can rest. But boxing wins out today for me. I'm big on boxing. I see where they're talking up a fight between Gervonta Davis and this kid Tevin Farmer. It's a good fight. It's a good fight. People said that Gervonta Davis is a tough, strong guy, which he is. But Tevin Farmer is a beautiful boxer, beautiful technical boxer. And that spells trouble for anybody in the division because he's staying close to the rule that boxing wins out the day. So I'd like to see that chemistry inside the ring.
Okay.
Frampton
Cruz.
and Cruz, I think Frampton did a very, very good job in winning that fight. Um, and it was partially due to his young trainer in the corner who did a good job, making adjustments in that fight. Because if he hadn't made those adjustments, he might have been susceptible to getting a loss. So the trainer did a good job in making the adjustments.
Rematch? Who wins?
I think that Frampton wins the fight again. I think he wins the fight again. I think that the pressure is going to be on Cruz, and I think that Frampton's going to use that pressure that's going to be on Cruz. I think that Frampton's going to use it to get by again, to eat the fight out again, and look for another close fight, split decision win for Frampton.
Okay. Let's talk about the big men. Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua. It was a fight that we talked about a while ago, and now it's going to be happening. It's the next fight up. What are your thoughts on this fight now? Vladimir at 40 plus, fighting the young, hungry lion in Anthony Joshua.
It's just going to be a hell of a fight, a hell of an atmosphere. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Vladimir Klitschko to win that fight because there's so many things in the upside for Anthony Joshua. He's young, he's strong, he's powerful, he's undefeated, he's the champion. So for the old man to come in, and that's what Vladimir Klitschko is being perceived as, the old man. Joshua is, 29, 28? And Vladimir Klitschko will be 41, I believe, when he steps in the ring. So he's being perceived as the old man, and Joshua naturally is the younger man. And it's an uphill battle for Vladimir Klitschko. He's going to have to come in with a tactical plan to outbox, to outslit, to outsmart, to outmaneuver the young upstart in Anthony Joshua.
Now,
so yeah, it's going to be tough.
How much can you or can people use the sparring sessions that Joshua and Klitschko had as a rangefinder or as a
well, that was 2 years, 2.5 years, I believe. If my memory is serving me correct, it was nearly 2.5 years ago. A lot has changed in that 2.5 years, and with each win in boxing, with each win, there's a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of power, if you will, mental power that's put into each win. And the way he's winning, he's destroying people. Anthony Joshua is destroying people. I would bet that Vladimir Klitschko is not those guys that Anthony Joshua has been beating. But Joshua has been beating these guys and destroying them, coming in like a wrecking crew. And remember, I said way back when I first encountered Joshua in the training camp, I said way back then that if this young man had the mental resolve that if he could swallow his own blood for 3 or 4 rounds, if he can fight with a cut eye or cut over both eyes, or having been down 2 times in the fight and get up and maintain his mental composure, his mental resolve, I told you way back then he'll be the second coming of George Foreman. I meant that. Remember, I told you that.
But you did use the word if. If's a
Yes.
small. It's 2 letters,
Yes.
but it's a
Yes.
big word in terms
Yes.
of if possibilities.
That's why I said, because it was too soon back then to tell, and it's still too soon because nobody's been able to get through, to break through that armor.
If, and then the sparring reports of cruiserweights doing them in sparring, and do we look into that or do we ignore that?
You know what? In sparring, a lot of things could happen. In sparring, a lot of things could happen. You know, all the people who have been sparring, including myself, in sparring, you do a lot of things, but then in a fight, there's a bit more air of caution. You understand? Because you don't have no headgear on and you have lesser meat on the gloves. In sparring, you're boxing with 18s and 20-ounce gloves.
But they,
Headgear.
but
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. With
okay.
headgears and 20-ounce gloves
Hmm.
and, you know, but in the fight, you've got 10-ounce gloves on. You don't have headgear. So the same strategy that you apply in sparring, you're not gonna be so quick to do that in a fight. So it makes a world of difference because they know each guy. Joshua is a puncher with both hands. I've experienced it. I've worked with him for 3 weeks, and I'll never forget those 3 weeks. Never. Because the first time he hit those mitts, I said, well, damn. I said, was that by mistake? And then he hit him again. I said, no, it wasn't by mistake. And it was with both hands. And I've done the mitts with Vladimir Klitschko. And he's hit those mitts, and I said, wow, this guy can hit. These guys can hit, you know? So you got two guys out there, big punches. And so when they hear a click, we know from watching war pitches, when you hear that click in a minefield, it's game over. Game over. And that's what it's going to be like for Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. It's going to be like boxing in a minefield. Once that click comes, you can't change your weight. You can't change your position. You can't change nothing. Because if you take any pressure, if you move any pressure off that detonator, then it's going to blow. And that's what this fight is going to be like. It's going to be fighting in a minefield.
If it was your choice, would you advise Vladimir to fight Joshua?
Well, when they're putting so much money in front of a fighter, you know, I think that I think that I would have probably had him fight somebody before Joshua. I was taking a fight that was comparable to Joshua, but I think that because he's been out so long that that maybe he should fight somebody before Joshua because the fight is not going anywhere. And Vladimir Klitschko being a champion for 10 years probably wants to get right back to the business of being the heavyweight champion, but at what risk? So, I think that I would have taken a fight prior to getting in with Joshua. But he's going straight back, and I don't know about that.
Okay. So, I mean, the fight is on, no doubt. But in terms of this fight of Klitschko, Joshua is young, you've said all these things, but experience is what Klitschko has in abundance. Is that the counter to everything else that Joshua's got?
Well, it would have to be considered a counter. It would have to be, I mean, it would be a foolish person to overlook that experience because Vladimir has been knocked out. He's been down, he's been out, and he's come back to sit on the roofs for 10 years. And it would be a bad mistake to overlook that experience. He knows how to maneuver his way through tough waters, being the heavyweight champion of the world for 10 years. I've been with him for 13 years, and he's a consummate professional. And he conducts himself like a professional inside the training camp. So it would be a bad mistake to overlook that. But, strange. One punch can change all of that. One clean, well-placed punch can change all of that. Experience goes out the window. Them punches land right. I've seen experienced guys that have experience up the gazoo. Well-placed punches. Once them punches are placed, everything goes out the window.
You've seen Vladimir, you've seen him up close. You saw him after the Fury fight, you saw him preparing for the second Fury fight. Has he missed a step? Or is he still the same Vladimir Klitschko that was beating everybody else up?
In life, everybody misses a step. Vladimir Klitschko, like I said, has been out there a long, long time through the amateurs and through the pros. He's been through a lot. So, everybody misses a step. You've got a young guy coming and you got an old guy that's on the last wheel. We got to see how it pans out. I don't want to be somebody in the bleachers that's just acting as a cheerleader. I'm being realistic about what's going on here. You got a young bull that's 28 years old, a young bull, a young, strong bull. But I think that Vladimir Klitschko's experience is the biggest thing that we have to hang our hat on is his experience, what he will do and what he won't do in a fight. And he's a cagey veteran. He's not one of those wild veterans that's just going to depend on his punching power, but he's going to depend on his ring savvy, his ring IQ, and his boxing skills. He's a beautiful boxer.
Has Joshua learnt enough in all those fights leading up to this one to be ready to fight a guy like Vladimir Klitschko?
I don't think so. That's why I insisted to Vladimir Klitschko that he takes this fight now. I literally called him on the phone and said, hey, man, we need to take this guy right now before he gets any better. He's gotten better thus far where he's won the heavyweight championship. But we don't want him to get comfortable in that role. This is what I told him on the phone. I talked to him on the phone and told him we need to take this fight right now. It's do or die. But we don't need to sit around 1 or 2 years waiting for him because he's going to get better. He's going to get better.
People look at the Tyson Fury performance and say, if Tyson can do it, then Joshua can do it.
No, the people that are saying that they don't understand the nature of boxing. Boxing styles make fights. And that night, Tyson Fury wasn't, in my mind, he wasn't that sure of himself. I think that he was making up stuff as he went along in the fight. He found out he can get away with something, and he kept on riding that horse to the end, which was smart. But I don't think that Tyson was really comfortable that night the way he would be in a rematch. Because he was doing things that night like on spur of the moment. And he really wasn't getting comfortable until the 8th, 9th, 10th round. He started getting comfortable in this role. I think that in a rematch he would have been far more comfortable because he had to go home and look at the fight and say, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. He had a air of achievement. I can go back and I can do certain things that I didn't do in the first fight.
So, with Tyson rumoured to be coming back this year, where does he fit in the heavyweight picture, in your opinion?
He's a wild card. Tyson is a wild card. I think that if he has not lost the momentum, which was a valuable momentum coming off of the Klitschko win, if he has not lost the momentum, and believe me, I've seen it where guys done things similar to this here, where they go out for a year or 2 years or 18 months, and they lose their momentum and never get it back.
Mm-hmm.
So if he hasn't lost the momentum, then he's a wild card in the heavyweight division. You never know what to expect from the young man. He's a big, athletic guy, and I think that he can be better. I think that he can be better. Better than what he was in the Klitschko win. I think he can be better.
The Briggs-Quendo fight?
Briggs.
Nope.
Briggs is gonna. Kendo's gonna look to box, build points up, and try to steal the decision. But I think Briggs clips him and knocks him out.
Okay. Joseph Parker, his win over Andy Ruiz.
Good win. Joseph Parker's win over Andy Ruiz. That was a close fight. That was a really competitive fight, and it was a close fight.
Do you think if that fight had not been in Joseph Parker's backyard, it would have been a different decision?
It could have been. If somebody said split decision for Andy Ruiz, I would have said, yeah, Andy, yeah, I can live with it. You know,
What did Andy Ruiz show you on the night?
that he's a major player in the heavyweight division, that he can punch, and that he's willing to get in there and fight. Andy Ruiz is a throwback to the old school heavyweight. You know, he's going to give you action for your dollar. He's not going to play around. So yeah, I like Andy Ruiz.
And Joseph Parker, where's he stand?
Joseph Parker is a good fighter. He's a durable fighter, and we'll see going forward. I do think that these guys waste too much time fighting guys that are inept, guys that are not on their level, and in doing so, they hurt boxing. The people want to see these guys get to the meat and potatoes the way the old heavyweights did in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They want to see those heavyweights roll the dice. Deontay Wilder has been fighting good fighters, but in my mind, in the minds of the people that's watching that, he's not fighting people on his level. And they want to see this.
Now, potentially, there's a rematch ahead for Deontay Wilder against Bermane Stiverne. How does that work out?
It's a good fight. I think it was too long in the making, though. I think it was far too long in the making. That fight should have been happened.
What happens in the rematch?
Hey, Deontay Wilder is on a roll. Deontay Wilder is feeling good about himself. He's building his confidence. You know, Bermane Stiverne hasn't been busy. He hasn't been busy. So you got to make a case for Deontay, the champion, to retain the championship. You know, you can say, "Oh, I've been in the gym and this and that," but no, being in the gym is not the same as getting in that ring with those tins on. So the edge would have to go to Deontay Wilder because he's been the guy that's been active. He's been active. He's been an active champion.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been in with the top guys that many people think that he should have been in. But he's been busy nonetheless under those lights, and that makes a difference going into a big fight. Bermane Stiverne hasn't
fought recently.
He hasn't fought recently. He hasn't fought in a long time.
He fought in January last year.
It's not a good. That's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
Finally, to close this all off, there's lots of talk of PEDs in boxing and people being suspended. Povetkin fought, even though he had some caught again, and then knocked out
Dupas.
Yeah, Dupas, yes.
It means nothing to me. I did a article recently stating that the UK was the leading authority when it came to righting the wrongs that are in boxing. They said that they suspended this trainer who had allowed Nick Blackwell to get into the ring and be re-injured, and they suspended the trainer for life.
The latest news about Nick Blackwell is that the rehabilitation is going slowly, and he won't be able to. He won't be able to walk until next year at the earliest. That's what they're saying now.
That was a dumb thing to do. That was a really dumb thing to do.
Why though? I'm just baffled. Why?
Egos from the trainer, ego from the boxer. Even if he managed to get through that sparring session, where was he going in the sport of boxing after having a brain injury? Where was he going?
I mean, body sparring, I'd understand, but head sparring? Why?
No sparring. No sparring. A body shot can cause trauma to the brain if oxygen is cut off.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Now I know.
Body punching can cut off oxygen to the brain. A good body shot can cut off oxygen to the brain. And after being damaged in such a fight, with the Eubank fight. After recovering from that day, it was best for him to walk on the clear side of the street and stay away from the sport, from the physical attributes. So I see that the UK came in and took away the trainer's license for life. You can't never work in a corner again for allowing that to happen. And I think that was a good move. And I think that the UK is the leading authority in the world right now for righting the wrongs that are in boxing. And we need more commissions throughout the world. Australia, America, and UK to say, no, we're not going to tolerate PEDs. If you get caught, Povetkin's been caught, what, 3 times? This is the 3rd time that he's been involved in this. This is the 3rd time that he's tested positive from some drug, and somehow he comes right back in the top 10, and everything's okay, it's over now, you're back, and he's still in the top 10, and nothing happens. A little slap on the wrist, he gets a little slap on the wrist, and everything goes away. No, if you get caught with any PEDs in your system, you're suspended for life. Goodbye. You're gone. Goodbye. You're done. No commissioner in the world. Every commissioner has to honor the other commissioner's rule. If you get caught in New Zealand, if you get caught in Australia, you get caught in the UK or America, every commission, you're done. Hey, New Zealand got a suspension on you. We got a suspension on you. You're done. To let them know. But if nobody is standing up, if everybody says, oh, you're out for a year, then it makes a hypocrisy of any ruling. Panama Lewis and Jose Resto were banned for life for what they did or what they was perceived to have done during the fight that Resto had there in the garden years ago. They were banned for life. Resto could never be a trainer or boxer again. Panama Lewis could never become a trainer again. They were banned for life. Okay, Margarito had the bricks in his hand. He was suspended for a year. So why would you suspend Panama Lewis and Jose Resto for life and tell Margarito, okay, you can come back after 1 year? No, the rule has to be across the board. It has to be across the board. And until there's a ruling that stands up and says, you had the other guy down there in Australia, Lucas Brown. Mm-hmm. He tested, 2 or 3 times positive. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying if you find these guys with PEDs in their system, somebody can get killed. Because you're making normal men into supermen. When you put those drugs in them, they can take more pain, they got more stamina, they got more strength, they got a whole lot of advantages that they wouldn't normally have.
But what about if it's a political move? What if it's used to shut people out of boxing? And not because they actually are in PEDs. That's the thing I'm concerned about.
Well, there has to be valid proof. There has to be valid proof. You can't just say somebody's on PEDs and you have 2 guys that go in a room and come out and shake it up and say, yeah, this is PEDs. No, you have to have valid proof.
Yes.
Before you can shut a person out of his career and say, okay, you're done. In other words, you have to send the same composition that you find in the urine and the blood. Okay, if you find it in Australia, you send a copy to Britain, you send a copy to the United States, and let those scientists say this is definitely PEDs. And then when that finding comes back, you suspend them for life.
That's right.
And vice versa. Yeah, that's how that's the only way to do it. You got to have other people involved who have no gain in putting a person down. So you send the blood samples, the urine samples around the world. Mm-hmm. If it happens in Britain, okay, you send a copy down to Australia, New Zealand, America,
yeah, or send
and let those people come back.
Send it randomly and anonymously so nobody knows who's what. They just do the test, so they can't be look out for Lucas's or look out for this. Or...
Right. You send it unannounced, If it's Lucas Browne, you send it under Bill Yancey. You
Yeah.
know, Bill Yancey. So they never know what it is. That's the proper way to do it. If you want to clean up the sport, if you want to clean up the sport. But boxing is a bastard sport. It's a bastard sport. You know, where you can come in and you can do different things. And like I said, that the powers that be will make the norms and what's not the norm. You understand? Will make the norms and what's not the norm. Because there are thousands of people around the sport that's not even getting in the ring that's making money off boxers.
Mm-hmm. Well, while you're at it, and while we're talking about that, and I will make this the final thing. Chris Eubank Senior and Chris Eubank Junior. Chris Eubank Senior trying to protect his son in the sport of boxing. People are telling him maybe Eubank Senior needs to take a step back. What are your thoughts on this?
I think Eubank Senior is a show off. He's a show off. He's bordering on being a clown. You know, he's a joke. You know, he's a real joke. Just like most of the fathers in the sport of boxing is jokes. You know, I'm seeing I don't have to call names. Just look around at the fathers that's in the corners of boxers.
He said, "Well, look, I've had 1920 world title defenses. One you've done that, come and have a conversation with me." That's his argument. I would know more about this sport than most.
Well, you know, from a boxer standpoint, Chris Eubank was a dynamic boxer. But as a boxing personality outside of that, he's a clown. You know, he's a clown. He's a joke. You know, he thinks because he's been a boxer that he's an official inside knowledge guy. You know, but he turns people off. You know, with his attitude, with his air. He has this arrogancy about him that turns people off. Yeah, he has some knowledge of the sport, but he overdoes it, in my opinion. And this is just my opinion. He can tell me to go to hell for it, and rightfully so. But I still have the opinions about him. You know, Chris Eubanks is going to fight Gennady Golovkin. He's going to fight this one. He's going to fight that one. He's going to fight this one. He's going to fight that one. You know, and stop talking and get in the ring and fight, man. I mean, it's a big turnoff to me. All I hear about is Chris Eubank Jr. is going to do this. Chris Eubanks Jr. is going to do that. Chris Eubank doing it. And he hasn't had that great an impact on boxing as of yet. Not in my mind, he hasn't. I mean, what names does he have on his roster? What was his biggest fight?
Billy Joe Saunders.
What was his biggest fight?
Billy Joe Saunders.
One more time. What was his biggest fight?
Billy Joe Saunders.
And what happened?
He lost.
He lost. That's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. Billy Joe Saunders is the biggest name on your record. And you're going around, you're huffing and puffing and this and that, you're posturing, you're on the internet, you're hitting the bag, you got muscles, and you're doing all this here. And the biggest fight on your record is Billy Joe Saunders, and you lost that.
His latest statement is he doesn't need a trainer to prepare him for the IBL world title shot he's got.
Well, look who he's fighting. Look who he's fighting. He doesn't need a trainer. You see the mockery that's being made here? You don't need a trainer. And the guy he's fighting, I've never heard of the guy. I've never seen the guy. I never heard of the guy. And then I saw a clip of the guy in preparation. It looked like he was training in a garage. He would look like he was training in somebody's garage, talking about he's the world champion at IBO. So I'm saying, okay, for the IBO, they're sitting back licking their chops saying, oh boy, we got to, Chris Eubank Jr. is going to be our champion because that's what's going to happen. The guy that's got the title, so-called title, I've never heard of or seen this guy before in my life. What kind of world champion is that? I live in boxing. I'm here in Ukraine now because of boxing. You understand? I'm here in Ukraine now. Um, and I've never heard of this guy that Chris Eubank is fighting. So I expect Chris Eubank to blow this guy out and take the IBO title. Now, if the guy goes in there and knocks out Chris Eubanks and beat him, then he'll then I could say, well, I made a big mistake, but I don't think so. I
I
think
don't
that
think
this guy gets knocked out inside of 5 rounds
so.
or less.
I think so. I think so too. I really think so. Do you have any final words to say before we close, Uncle?
I've got a interest in a young man out of South Africa. He's a big kid, you know. He came into the Vladimir Klitschko camp. Um, the last time we were preparing for Tyson Fury, was a big young man, big guy, 6'10", 300 pounds. He's 6-1 as a professional. He's from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Okay.
Um, Kid is a big, strong guy. I'm gonna be probably working with him. I'm probably gonna fly down to South Africa, and I'm gonna take over the training of this young man. Um,
Wow.
yeah, he's a young man. You know, I mean, he's very respectful to me. Is the Giant King. They call him the Giant King.
Okay.
His name is Ruan. RU
Yep.
A
Yep.
double N
Ran. What's his last name?
VISSER.
Ran Visser. Okay.
Uh, I'm, I've been in dialogue with his promoter there and his managers, and they're wooing me. You know, we've been talking back and forth, and they want me to fly into South Africa to take a look at him and see if I can change him around. I think I can do some things with him because we work together again in the Klitschko camp up in Austria.
So he had that one. He had the one loss. Do you know how he lost the fight?
I think he lost it by decision. You can check Box Rec.
Okay.
I think he lost it by decision. But again, I think that a lot of fighters are losing fights because of the people who are training them.
Okay.
They don't have. I'm not saying that these trainers are bad trainers. They just don't have an in-depth knowledge.
Right.
They don't have an in-depth knowledge of what they're doing, and they're missing a lot of things. I'm a world traveler in this sport, and I've gone to many countries, and I've had, and I'm not saying that I know it all, but I know a lot. I'm not saying that I know it all, but I do know a lot. Um, and I learned a lot, you know, over the years in my travels with the great Emmanuel Stewart. Um, may God make his grave spacious and comfortable. I learned a lot being with Emmanuel. I picked up on a lot of things that a lot of other trainers didn't get privy to. Um, I traveled all over the world with Emmanuel. You know, a lot of things I picked up on that benefits me now. That along with all the other trainers that I work with, you know, those guys were valuable to me, and they'll always be with me in my mind, in my heart. Those guys will always be there because of all of the knowledge and experience that I got from them. I stayed under old trainers. I stayed under these guys, you know. I went to see one of the guys back in New York in a nursing home, and he didn't even know who I was. Dementia had overtaken him, and I went to see him, and he didn't even recognize me. He didn't even know who I was. And I thought to myself when I was there with him, like, oh my God, will this happen to me?
Wow.
It was devastating to me. It was devastating to me. And I had learned so much from this guy. I had been around him, and I had taken in so much knowledge from this man. We were boys, and I was questioning him, and he had no idea who I was. And he was an inside boxing guy. You know, I think his last assignment was working in the corner with Larry Holmes. You know, and I just got scared. I got a rush of fears. I said, "Is this how life ends?" You know, dementia had dominated him way to the point where he did not know who I was. He didn't recognize me from a normal person walking down the street.
Wow.
So I learned from being under the old trainers. I tried to get another older trainer to fly to Australia with me,
Mm-hmm.
and he just looked at me and with this faraway look in his eyes, said, "Bash, I can't do it." So I said, "Well, why? Why you can't do it?" I was all gung ho and stuff. I said, "Well, what do you mean you can't do it? Come on, man. We always work together. Come on, let's fly down to Australia with me. Work the corner with me." He said, "Bash," he said, I can't, I can't fly like that no more." I said, "You what?" He said, "I can't fly like that no more. I can't do that. I can't." He said, "That's 18 hours on a plane." He said, that's too long for me. I can't do that no more. He said that he had panic attacks or something.
Wow.
He said if you're on that plane like that, he said I don't know what will happen to me. He said I'll be I'll be in a panic attack. I can't sit like that, be like that on that plane. And again, I got that same feeling that I got in that nursing home. I got a rush. I got a fear. I said, "Damn, will this happen to me?" You know.
Yeah.
Then I tried to get another guy up in Detroit. I tried to get him to go to Sweden, to fly to Sweden with me. Because I value these old guys. I value them. And I said, "Come on, fly to Sweden." And he said, "Well, I can't leave my wife. I can't leave her. Because when I leave her, ain't nobody around to take care of her." And he was 90 then. So he wanted to stay with his wife. He was 90 years old then. But he said, "No, I got to stay here with my wife." He said, "I can't leave her. We went down the road together. We're going to be down the road to the end." And both of them gone now.
Wow.
They're both gone now. But this is a testimony. This is a respect that I'm paying to these people. I've been around a lot of great trainers, man. Lee Black, Sam Solomon, Walter Smith, Luther Burgess, Bill Miller, and the list goes on right up until Emmanuel Stewart. Lee Emmanuel Stewart was the last guy. I spent time with all these guys. I spent a lot of time with these guys because I pursued this sport right from the very beginning. I never stopped. And when I look back on the things that I lost, I say I lost some things, but I gained some things. And that's why I talk about contempt from managers and from promoters. I'm not going to take that. I don't have to take that from you. You know what I'm saying? Because most of you guys don't know left hooks from walking down the street, you know? And you come into sport with your suits and ties on and telling people, what they need to do, what they don't need to do. And even with Joshua is headed down the road. He's making mistakes. I see he's making mistakes. I see from afar that he's making mistakes. And those mistakes will come back to haunt him later on. Maybe not now, or maybe now when he faces Klitschko. It's just a matter, it's just a matter of what he does in the ring, but he's making mistakes. I can see, I watch the people that's training him. I see different things, you know. I see different things that needs to be corrected now. But he's winning, He's winning. We got a big, strong guy here. He can beat everybody on the block. We'll see. We'll see. But I see chinks in his armor, and that comes from being observant. That comes from being observant. But nonetheless, I learned from those people that I work with, and I pay tribute to those guys, all of them. Most of them, if not all of them, are in the grave now, but I pay tribute and honor and respect to them, right down to Emmanuel Stewart.
Well, it's a shame you're not the head trainer of Vladimir Klitschko, because if you were the head trainer of Vladimir Klitschko, you'd be conversing that and passing that straight on and implementing that in Klitschko's training camp.
Well, it's a matter of choice, It's a matter of comfort and choice. He chose Jonathan Banks, so let's see what happens. I'm good with it too. I'm good with it because
Well,
I think that a boxer has to be also comfortable. If he's comfortable with Jonathan Banks, then that's where he should be working with. I don't want to be in a role where the boxer is not comfortable with me. If I got the steering wheel, I want to know I got the steering wheel, and I don't want nobody doubting that. Uh, you get boxers that come along, and a lot of times I get into different little spats with people that's around Usyk. I get into different little spats. Well, he needs to do this, he needs to do that, he needs to do this, he needs to do that. And I say, you people need to shut up because I am the trainer. You've got people there who hasn't been in boxing for 4 years. That hasn't been in the boxing for 4 years, and they're telling me, well, he needs 8 weeks of this, and he needs that. If he does this today, he'll be tired. Or when I say, listen, if you guys keep saying that he's going to be tired, then he's going to be tired. When somebody keep hammering into your head, you're going to be tired. You're going to be tired. You're going to be tired. It's like hypnosis. Mm-hmm. Keep quiet. Keep quiet and trust the information that I'm giving him. I'm trainer.
Shouldn't these people be got shot off? Because they're just nuisance. They're counterproductive to camp.
The boxer is always the last guy to notice that. The boxer is always the last guy to notice that, Again, Usyk is respectful to me, but he's got, people there that has been around him probably for most of his life, and he has trust in them. But everybody has a role in a training camp. And I'm saying this here to all of the boxing people out there who may listen to this interview. And everybody has a role, but the boxer has got to get close to the trainer and depend on that trainer. Emmanuel and I would talk in the different training camps that we work at over the years. And Emmanuel will say, I want you to go down there and check on the fighter. I said, go and check on him. He said, yeah, go check on the fighter. He said, stay as close to that boxer as possible. I said, well, why? He said, because a lot of times the people that they know, they get in the boxer's ears. He said, when they get in the boxer's ears, it makes our job harder. This is what Emmanuel told me. He said, when those people around that boxer, when they get into the boxer's ears, it makes our job twice as hard. He said, your position is to act as a roadblock to keep that from happening.
Wow.
Yeah. He used to tell me that day. He used to say, keep them guys. He said in the Tommy Hearns Ray Leonard first fight, he said Tommy Hearns was running in the nighttime and he didn't have no knowledge of it. And said he would come back and run Tommy in the daytime. You know? He would work Tommy hard in the gym without having knowledge that he was running 5 miles every night. Yeah, he said that Tommy was running at night but he didn't have no knowledge of it, and he would eat on a certain diet. I think he said he weighs in when he weighed in for the Ray Leonard fight. He said he was shocked that Tommy had weighed in a pound and a half or either 2 pounds under the limit. It was something like that. There, we go to Box Rec real quick and see what Tommy Hearns weighed in for that fight. But I think Emmanuel said that Tommy weighed in a pound and a half under the limit, or either 2 pounds under the limit. He was too thin, and he said it was to his surprise. He said, but it all happens because of those people who are influencing the boxer. When in the absence of the trainers, he said it happens because they're being influenced by those people who are close to them. So
Okay.
I can bet.
Hearns wore 145 pounds.
145 pounds. I thought that.
And
Yeah.
Leonard was 146.
Mm-hmm. Tommy Hearns is 6'2" and a half damn near. 6'2", 6'2" and a half. And he weighed in at 145. 145. Can you imagine being that tall and be 145? If he had those 2 pounds, he might have beat Ray Leonard in that first fight. You see how a little technical misjudgment can cost you a fight?
Yeah.
And Emmanuel said if he had those 2 pounds on him, he would have had the energy to finish the fight. But because he didn't have those 2 pounds, and people will sit back in our listening audience and say, oh, get out of here. But you got no idea. They have no idea about what boxing is. Those 2 pounds that he didn't weigh, because the welterweight limit is 147. The welterweight limit is 147. He could have had those 2 pounds on. He said, what's the difference? They ate after the fight and this, that. No. The damage is already done at the weigh-in. Yeah, but he ate food after the day. He had all day to eat. And that at that time, you weighed in the day of the fight. There wasn't no day in between. You weighed in the day of the fight during that time. Now you got this you weigh in today at 6 o'clock and you fight tomorrow night at 12 o'clock. You got plenty of time to rehydrate. But in those days when Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns fought, you had to weigh in the day of the fight. So those 2 extra pounds that he didn't have on him may have cost him the energy that he needed to win the fight because he was ahead on the scorecards.
Wow.
Tommy Hearns was ahead going into the round that he was stopped in. Tommy Hearns was ahead. So we don't know. Nobody will ever know if he had those 2 extra pounds on him. He may have won the fight.
Wow. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. But you never know when you be around the people that's in Boston today. Everybody's a wise guy. The guy with the grocery cart running around you know what I'm saying? Everybody's a wise guy. Everybody this will make your fight. This will make you better. You know. Then you got every condition that goes on. Yeah, well, if your blood rate is 6.0 at this time, by the time you get to the 8th round, you'll be able to blow. You'll take off. You'll blast. You'll be better. You'll be stronger. You'll be fat. I don't believe in it.
I said it. We're gonna close on this. I said this about James Degale. Somebody said to me, look at Degale's body. He's got a new strength and conditioning coach. I said, I don't give a damn. There's no way a strength and conditioning coach can make that much of a difference between the time they've come into camp to the fight. No way. You'd see that in about 3 or 4 fights' time because the body needs to get used to that sort of training and conditioning.
Kovalev, you know, and other fighters has conditioning coaches. In the fight with Andre Ward, Kovalev looked tired going into the 10th, 11th, and 12th round. He looked tired. So I'm just saying that it boils down to the individual that's in that ring, not the conditioning coach. The conditioning coach is doing his job. But if the guy don't have the mentality of the psychic to carry the benefit of that conditioning into the ring with him, then it's no good.
Absolutely.
It's useless. Give me a break, man. This is a lot of nonsense, and this is what I'm telling different people in different camps that I work in. My rule now coming into a camp is that I've got to have
the final say.
The final say. You understand? I don't want people whispering in my guy's ears, telling them that they need to do this, they need to do that, they need to do this, they need to do that. You understand? It's disruptive.
It is indeed.
It's disruptive. It's disrespectful to the trainers. Stay out of the way. Everybody is an expert. You know, they got a boxer. My brother, my uncle, you know, is a boxer. And then everybody becomes an expert until the fighter is no more. And then when the fighter is no more, you never see those people again.
That's true. We've come 360. We've come right the way around. We started about questionable trainers. We're ended on questionable trainers and questionable methods. Uncle Bashir, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a good evening.